watching TV9 Digital. I'm Neha. There have been many debates about whether or not people who have tested positive should take the vaccine. This is largely because it is believed that people who test positive develop antibodies and hence do not require vaccination. There is also a discussion about whether these people require both doses of the vaccination. This debate accelerated after Kentucky Senator Rand Paul said he won't be taking the Covid-19 vaccination as he had already been infected with the virus. Should the one who has recovered get vaccinated? What is the truth? To answer this and a lot more, Dr. Sitesh Roy, renowned immunologist, joins me. Welcome, Dr. Sitesh. The first question, of course, here, if someone has recovered from coronavirus, do they need to be vaccinated? If yes, why? And if no, why not?
So in my opinion, Neha, if someone has recovered from a COVID-19 infection, they should still get vaccinated. The duration in which they get vaccinated is something that is being studied, but currently the recommendations are between 3 and 6 months. The reason to do so is that we know that the antibody titers in quite a lot of people, I would say more than 50% people, does decline over a span of 6 months or a year. And this has been known with other coronaviruses before too. And in that situation, a person can become prone to having an infection again. We do realize that there is memory immunity both from T cells and B cells which can protect them even after the antibodies decline. But given that this is a serious infection which can take lives, I think it makes all the sense in the world to go ahead and vaccinate at the right time, even after an infection. The only reason not to vaccinate would be if there is a concern for over-immunization because of repeated exposure to the same antigens from the virus. But I think that this has not shown to be a problem so far, with millions of doses being given to people who have recovered around the world.
The people who have recovered from COVID-19 believe that they have developed antibodies and they do not need vaccination as they are already immune. Would you agree?
So Neha, while we would all hope that everyone who has had the COVID-19 infection is immune to it after they recover, the reality is we have all seen patients who had the infection in the first wave and have had the infection again in the second wave, and some of them who have even had infection twice in the second wave. So the reality still remains that not everyone responds to the virus as we would like. We also know that the blood tests that are commercially available through labs, which claim to be testing for neutralizing antibodies and total antibodies, are not completely representative of what actually neutralizes the virus in a petri dish in a biosafety lab level 3, which is ideally how neutralizing antibodies are tested. So I think it is a false complacency that some people may have looking at their blood reports or looking at the fact that they've had the infection, that they are totally immune and safe, when the reality is different than that.
Do people who have recovered from the coronavirus infection, doctor, and also developed antibodies require both the doses of the vaccine?
So this is a very important question, Neha, and it has been studied in the US and certain other parts of the world, where giving a single dose of an mRNA vaccine from Pfizer or Moderna after someone has recovered from a natural COVID-19 infection seems to be adequate to boost their immune system almost 6 to 30 times higher than they would have received by receiving 2 doses of the vaccine alone. So while we have data on other vaccinations, we do not have similar data for Covishield or Covaxin at this point of time. But as a clinical immunologist, I do believe that if someone has had a mild, moderate or severe infection, receiving a single dose of the vaccination thereafter might be enough for them to get boosted. But so far there has been no harm if someone has taken both doses even after recovery, after the right interval.
Lastly, Dr. Sitesh, is there a possibility of an adverse effect that the people who had tested positive can suffer after taking the vaccine as recommended?
So the concern that comes up in the minds theoretically of people is that if there is already antibodies and memory cells formed due to the natural infection, and you happen to boost it further through a vaccination, could you create a state of hyperimmunization? And this hyperimmunization has led to something called arthros reaction in the case of previous immunizations that we have done, where a person may have gotten more than the recommended doses due to an error or any other reason of the vaccination. However, with shared experience from around the globe, this does not seem to be happening so far in people who have had a COVID-19 infection and then received 2 doses. But certainly, if someone after the first dose of the vaccination has a significant redness, swelling, fever at this, and swelling and redness at the site of injection, then they should seriously see their doctor and have a discussion before even getting the second dose to decide if it's even needed, because their body already has a lot of preformed antibodies that are reacting to the vaccine.
Well, there you heard the doctor. Vaccination is a must, but having said that, it does not give you a 100% guarantee of safety. For that, you must always practice COVID appropriate behavior, mask up, stay safe, and go get the vaccination doses when your time is due. Thank you very much for joining me. If at all you've liked the information that I've shared, do not forget to subscribe to TV9 Digital across all social media platforms. Stay safe.